Okay, when I did the Saigo Takamori walk, I kind of overstated things in saying that the entire area below Shiroyama Hill were rice fields. In fact, a lot of this area had been built up by the 1800s as a castle town surrounding Tsuramarujo, Tsuramaru Castle. Most of the area on the other side of the Kotsukigawa River here was still rice farms. But in the area that I'm at now, along the castle road leading to the bridge over the river, there were a lot of samurai residences here. So a lot of small houses for upper class warriors. The main thing though is that this area is part of a larger history, and one of those elements is actually the river itself. There was a lot of flooding during major storms, and that would wash out the older wood bridges. So in the 1800s, a particular mason was commissioned from Kumamoto, about 300 miles from here, to come in and build 34, 35 bridges in the Satsuma region, which included one bridge down by the Inari River, which is where we're going to be going to, and 5 bridges here along the Kotsukigawa. Now, 2 of the bridges were badly damaged by storms, and the remaining 3 were eventually removed and taken down to Ishibashi Koen, which translates to Stone Bridge Park. One of the main features though, is that this part of the bridge had, let the wind settle down. This part of the bridge had a very large gate, and it was the widest bridge across the river at the time at 6.2 meters, which is close to 20 feet wide. The gate was also moved down to Ishibashi Koen. So what I need to do is take the camera off the tripod here, put it on the handheld mount, and then follow the road. Now, while this is the main road leading down to the castle village center near Reimeikan, which is now where the old castle site used to be, the real road that goes directly in front of Reimeikan, which I've walked along a couple times for these videos, is 1 block over. So I'll go a little ways down. There's actually a food festival at Central Park right now, but with social distancing and keeping track of everybody's names and faces and stuff, I don't really feel safe going in there. But we'll probably walk by, and then we'll continue down to the old town. So I need to take the camera off the tripod. Okay, just a quick little walk over to the memorial sign for the bridge. There's a lot of memorial signs all over this place. Most of them sponsored by the city. Okay, so here stood Nishidabashi, one of the famous 5 stone bridges that Kumamoto mason Iwanaga Sangoro built at the behest of Zuho Hirosato following the reforms of the Tempo period. Takanohashi Bridge and Shinkan Bridge were badly damaged by flooding on August 6, 1993, and the remaining 3 bridges were moved to Gion no Su to facilitate river work. Completed in 1846, Nishidabashi, the bridge here, was the entrance to the castle town with its own gate on the left bank, and at 6.2 meters was the widest of the 5 Kotsuki bridges. It owed its unique beauty to the double arch design and the fanning pattern of the stones between the arches. The stone balusters were capped with bronze and linked with elegant tubular stone railings. Now, one of the things, and let's go up here on top of the bridge, is that there's about 3 or 4 interesting destinations down the other side of the History Museum that are in opposite directions, turning this into kind of a text adventure game. You pick your own street. So this is the river. It used to flood over during the up to the 1800s. Now it almost never gets above 3 feet, 4 feet deep. Occasionally I get a few inches over the walking paths, but that's it. Right now the majority of the water is no more than 6, 8 inches deep. The bridge directly in front of me is the one that leads to Ami Plaza and the Central train station. It's the one that has the streetcar running over it. So that is actually now the most important bridge. The one that we're going to be following, the street down to Reimeikan, is behind me. And as soon as I've got a couple of people behind me out of the way, I'll turn around. So what we're going to do is go down this street, hang a jog to the left at Central Park down by the Saigo statue, and continue on down there to the other side of Reimeikan. Now I just have to figure out is how to change modes. So, okay. I think there's only like 2 or 3 people that will watch this video. So if one of you is paying attention, you may notice that the sun has gone down a little bit. Turned out that when I thought I started the fast walk part of the video here, it didn't happen. And I didn't realize it until I was about 8 blocks away. So I came back 3 hours later, and I'm going to retrace my steps for that one little part. The thing I do for views. Francis Xavier was the first Jesuit priest to visit Japan, and he arrived at Kagoshima a little ways away from the main waterfront park. That's the primary port area now. He proselytized through Kyushu up towards Edo, the capital at the time. And a lot of his religious activities were in part responsible for the government and the current, or at the time, powerful Shinto religious leaders, to panic. And that's when they closed off the borders and persecuted the Japanese residents or Japanese citizens that had turned Christian at that time. And there's several locations that are dedicated to Xavier and some of his Japanese converts. The church itself is across the street. It's very popular with Filipino residents. So I'm going to try the time warp again. Okay, while we're waiting for the light to change, this is a fairly major intersection, culturally as well as just having a lot of cars. Down to my left, we've got Terakuni Jinja, the biggest shrine in the area. Shiroyama, which I just climbed in the first video, or the previous video. Central Park, directly across from me, Chuo Koen. And Tenmonkan to the left. Excuse me, Tenmonkan to the right, which is the major shopping district in this area. So right now they've got this meat festival, which is primarily promoting their local restaurants with food tables. Back a few hundred years ago, this entire area was wide open and very, very dark. The Shimazu lord at the time had ordered some of his men to help him make a star map for navigation purposes. And the idea was that they would come out, the Lord would do the sky viewing, make marks as to where he was looking, what he found, and then he would have an aide write the information down in a book. This area at the time was called Tenmon, which was Sky Observatory. And because of that, the shopping district, Tenmonkan, translates to Sky Viewing Shopping Center. So a little bit of background on that. But we're actually pretty close to the old castle ruin location. From here, we actually have a small natural history museum, free to the public. And at the end of the park, we have Hosan Hall, which is both a cultural center as well as containing a planetarium on the 4th floor and a small natural history exhibit of fossil bones, which unfortunately is closed for some reason right now, and I'm not sure when it's going to reopen. The second half of the meat festival, which is called Shokugatsu-do, which is a joke based on Rokugatsu-go. Rokugatsu-go is a big festival in June. The name translates to 6-month festival. The name here, Shokugatsu-go, is basically dinner festival. They do have a small stage set up, but most of what they're doing is either dance studios putting on performances or manzai comedy groups. And manzai is mainly slapstick, which I don't consider to be all that funny, but maybe that's just me. So you may be able to see Saigo down in the distance, but let's keep going. Okay, this is the main art museum, Kagoshima City Museum of Art. And just a little ways down from here is the prefectural library. Not a lot of really interesting exhibits, basically historical Japanese art, but that's, yeah, you can't really take pictures of it, so there's not a lot of reason for going in to document it. So let's keep going. Actually, I do want to mention that right behind this museum is a Maruhan Children's Museum, which is running an exhibit on Ribbon magazine, which is one of the most significantly historic shoujo magazines for shoujo manga, dating back to the 1950s, where Tezuka got his start with things like Ribbon Night. So they've got that going. I might go in and buy the catalog for that at some point. So let's keep going.